Do you want to never work again? Or maybe you just want to get paid to do what you love? Or maybe like me, you just never want to worry about money again? Me freaking too. I'm on a quest to figure that out exactly. Today is really exciting for me because we actually get to talk about the income part of exponential income, which you would think would be a really big part of this whole idea, but it actually isn't. It's one of these, I don't want to call it a necessary evil, but it's one of these things that we absolutely have to spend time doing, but we should not spend our life focused on it. Exponential income is my organized thoughts and ideas on a different perspective of wealth accumulation. It is a process that emphasizes the enjoyment of wealth accumulation while building a life that you never want to retire from. The absolutely starting point of any of this is starting with why, which I think is a shortcoming of a lot of people in this day and age when they start trying to control their own finances, is they don't ever have a end point that they want to get to. So it's always more and always more. I think it is important to sit down and actually write out what you are actually looking for as far as how you want to make your money. Just seeing if you guys will interact with me. If you guys are pet owners, I would just really appreciate it if you would interact. And in the comments, why don't you throw down, I love my pets, and or pets, whatever. I love my pets. And watch till the end because I really, I've got something that I'm going to try. I'm trying to give away some money. So get into this. I think before you have a plan for making money, I think these are the sciences to success is just having a budget. And straight up, I'll admit, I've done pretty bad at that. Recently, I got back on it because I need to have a budget, because if you don't, your money just disappears. And that's kind of what happens to me. Unfortunately, it's a very simple calculation that if you're spending more than that's coming in, you're going to get in a pretty tough situation, which is vastly approaching. So please pay attention to this. I want to live well below my means, which I've been doing for quite a while. And I would say I've gotten pretty good at that. I'm at the point now that I want my means to be considerably larger so I could still live within them, well within them, but enjoy more comforts. Here are some of the guidelines that I want for how I want to go about making money. I do not want to trade my time for money, at least not one for one, which means having to go and do one process once and then you can collect a check. If working where you can just do things one time and it forever with no work continues to make you money is absolutely ideal, but also something where you put in the work one time and you only have to semi-actively engage these things. So a little bit of maintenance or this and that and the other. Those are the ideal forms of income. Knowing that that is a core principle doesn't make it necessarily easy to achieve. Well, I mean, I haven't done it yet. That's what I'm attempting to do. And so I guess a little precursor to the not trading your time for money is figuring out how to get the most money for your time. The other day, I came across a term that explained one of the really core concepts about what I was getting at for exponential income. And what the term is ROTI. And if you're familiar with ROI, is return on investment, this is a very similar concept, but I think is way more powerful. And it's return on time invested. And that has been something that has been so apparent to me because I'm trying to go about this differently. And if you're going to not trade your time for money, I think that is the absolute principle that you need to live and die by. Well, hopefully, because that's what I'm doing right now. So hopefully I'm making the right moves. But the whole concept of return on time invested is not just what is going to pay the best returns for today, but being able to look at it over a long-term scale. Where instead of looking at a month, why don't you look at 5 years? And is what I'm doing right now going to be the most valuable over that 5-year span? And I believe that if you start asking those questions, for me personally, I know that it changed my perspective on everything. And on the concept of the return on time invested, You also have to understand, which may be really uncomfortable for people, which I think is why a lot of people don't ever venture out and do one of their own things, is when you stop trading your time for money, you're almost never going to get paid immediately. Because if you stop trading your time for money, you have access to all of these other options that can make you so much more money in the long term, but they're not going to pay you right now. That's your trade-off. And so one of the things is just understanding an exponentiality or exponential income is that you're going to start with zero. You're going to start with nothing. And as this grows and grows and grows, it is exponentially going to increase because you're going to put in new ways of making money and your influence is increasing and all these things are going to grow. But just understand that chances are the idea is if you're going to change the way you're making money now, the chances are you're probably, from hour one, you're not going to make any money. Totally embrace that, because pretty soon here, you put in the time now, and in the very, and however far future, your plan has, you're never going to have to put in any more time. I want the least amount of responsibility and the least amount of risk. And you'll see here, I have some investments that I want to get into, but I am willing to leave money on the table if it's convenient and easy for me and I don't have to worry about anything. The last thing that I think is really important to me, which is new to exponential income, at least for me. I know this is not a new concept to many, 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 many people, but as far as how I want to be able to make money, I want them to all be independent of each other, but also be connected through my community, my following, my influence, however you want to call it, because I think that's one of the aspects that really makes this idea of exponential income so viable these days and so valuable. Every time your following grows and gets bigger exponentially, all of these are based on the foundation of your influence. So if you have a book, the more people that know about you personally are going to know about your book and your online course and your Facebook group. So that's one of the really important things about this process now that I think might be a little bit different. If this sounds like something you're interested in, and because I just want to get a feel for the people that are out there, I want you guys to engage and I want to start to really pick your guys' brains. So if what I just went through resonates with you, I want you guys to just leave me a comment, would you? And for this one, why don't we just go with freedom? Freedom! Put that in the comments for me, would you? Just so I know if I'm on basis with any of these things, because quite frankly, those ideas sound amazing to me. And a lot of the conversations I've had with other people, they seem to like it too. But I want to make sure that I'm getting to the right people, and I would love your feedback. So do that for me, would you? I want to start with more of the long-term goals, because I think, and when I say long-term goals, these aren't goals that I'm trying to accomplish in a long time away. These are the types of goals that are going to be in place for long term. And the one that is a little bit, I don't want to say new, but if you wouldn't have found these in your business books 30 years ago, is I think that one of the most powerful things that you can have these days is a community or an influence and an outreach, whatever that is. And so one of my long-term goals, which I don't hear a lot of people saying, which I think is a bit odd, but I started YouTube to make money. I felt like this was the absolute best opportunity for me to do whatever the heck I wanted to do and get paid. I recently started a podcast with that. It's going to be a blog and some websites. I've started a couple of Facebook pages, which I would love for you to check out. They're just called Exponential Income. Go check those out. It's basically trying to build a support group, a community that believes along the same lines of what I'm talking about right now. And it's trying to be a support group where we can reach these goals of actually getting out of the, kind of the rat race and being the cogs in the status quo. So please check that out. I think, folks, I just want you to understand, like, these are my plans. I don't know what I'm doing, but I've evaluated the situation that is our economic where we're at economically. And I've realized that I need to learn some new skills and change and pivot. And if I'm going to get to where I want to go, the next step in this plan is another one of these sciences to success, where I mean, I don't care where you look. Everybody knows owning things, and especially real estate, is one of the easiest ways to build wealth. You're either on one side of the coin or the other. You're either paying rent or you're receiving it. And I'm tired of freaking paying it. So part of my plan is owning real estate. And I have a very particular type of real estate that I've been looking into. I'm going to look into mobile home parks for quite a few reasons. But one of the main ones is the lack of responsibility and risk, like I talked about before. You can find particular parks that the city or county or whoever owns the roads, the power, gas, the all the utilities. So basically what you can do, and if you have a park where the owners or the tenants own their homes, is basically you only own the dirt and you get paid on that. So it's very low risk. Also along these things, our country is absolutely facing an affordable housing crisis, and there are mobile home parks all over the country that are basically run down and decrepit, but you can't get these zoned anymore. So this is actually a freaking fantastic way of getting affordable housing out there and allowing people to own their own homes. Also, another science to success is compounding interest. It's just one of these things where if you understand money, I mean, you'd be foolish not to not take part of it. So I'm hoping once I do get some real estate, I think, and these are my aspirational ideas and goals. These aren't set in concrete and they can very much pivot, but hopefully what I would like to do is from the mobile home parks, because they're very cash flow driven, I would like to take the cash flow from those, live well within my means, and invest in something that has compounding interest, kind of the intermittent or intermediary. And this is really the fun part of it, because I mean, owning real estate is great, whatever. I mean, getting a paycheck is great, not doing anything, but that's not how I want to spend my life. I don't want to just get as much money as possible. So moving on to this, what are I actually going to do? And these Muse businesses that Tim Ferriss is talking about, which if you haven't seen my video, I wrote Tim Ferriss a thank you letter, still hasn't gotten it, darn it. But Tim Ferriss came up with the concept of lifestyle design, which is what a lot of exponential income is based on. And he also has this other idea of Muse businesses, which is really, I think, what I'm talking about a lot. And it's kind of these standalone businesses that you don't even need employees. And I mean, it's not specifically defined, but a Muse business is something that basically you can put in time once and it will continue to make money. I have an entire book here. This is like my future fun playbook. I have a lot of inventions and business ideas in there. So that's kind of a long-term goal of being able to get to a place where I don't have to worry about my income now, and I can just focus on building these Muse businesses. Moving forward with businesses, as far as accomplishing kind of the very hands-off approach, is these businesses really need to be efficient. They really need to be optimized, which, cut out as much fat as you can, which is why I think they should be very independent. You don't have them tied to any other business or any other products. Diversified, which I think is easier and easier to do, especially if you only do a one product deal. And then they really should be able to be connected with your own influence. So with your community, your outreach, anything like that. I think you need to build these with that in mind. So my next steps, because I'm trying really hard not to trade my time for money, and I have a little bit more time that I have stowed away in money that I can access, but it's becoming quite slim. But my actual very next step, I recently became a health and life insurance agent, which is how I'm actively planning on making money right now. But while I was doing that, I came across a very cool product, which is a pet health matching account. And it's kind of a replacement for pet insurance. So this pet health matching account already has a lot of the material that you can use for marketing, and it already has a portal for me to get paid commissions. It's also an incredibly brilliant product, which it's not insurance, absolutely not insurance, but it's a scheduled matching account. So my next step is I'm going to set up a landing page and hopefully be able to just put this time in one time and start a funnel. And this is my first Muse business. I'm super excited about it, kind of nervous because I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't think it should be that hard, but which makes me nervous that I don't want to screw it up. If you commented, I love my pets, what I want to do here is I want to have a little bit of a raffle. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to set up my website, which is My Pets Bank, mypetsbank.com, My Pets Bank. That's my website. If you commented, I love my pet or I love my pets, I am going to give away either a $20 gift card or I'm going to match your first month's contribution if you signed up for a plan. And I'm going to do that either when I get 25 comments that say, I love my pet or pets, or if this goes for 6 months, because quite frankly, I don't have a lot of viewers yet. And it could go 6 months without getting 25 comments. So what I'm doing now for trading my time for money, which I'm trying to get away from, is health and life insurance, which I had a very brief experience with a few years ago. Long story short, hated it, hated the company, hated the culture, all that crap. Fast forward a little bit, my father passed away and had a life insurance plan, and I saw how valuable that was. And then COVID hit, and I had this whole other reorganizing of ideas and how to make money, and came up with this basically exponential income idea. And lo and behold, insurance came up because it is commission based. Well, I'll just tell you the reasons why. One, like I mentioned before, I realize how valuable of a product life insurance is. And I'll just tell you right now, insurance is not a scam. It's so heavily regulated. Insurance is not a scam. You might get a crappy agent that screws you over, but insurance is not a scam. I can do it from home, which was way different than I could before, which means I have very location flexible, and my schedule is very flexible because I am independent. You can make good money for your time spent. It's very diversified because you have to have a license to do this. So most people just are not eligible to even do this, to even sell these products. There are a lot of products within this life insurance that I think you could really do a Muse business with and be successful with, but time will tell. That's pretty much all I've got to say for now. Thanks for listening, guys. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe, hit the like buttons, and comment. Also, I've started a Facebook page called Exponential Income. It's a place where I'm trying to gather my community. I'd really appreciate it if you go check it out. There's some really cool things happening there, although it's still brand new. I would love your guys' input. A lot of what I'm doing is I'm trying to share and organize these ideas on a pretty regular basis to get your input about them, and so that we can put these together and kind of get a little bit of a plan and a playbook out there to help people pursue a more fulfilling life, and prioritizing their health and well-being over making money and creating a life you never want to retire from. That's all I've got, guys. Thanks for listening. Hit that subscribe button for me, would you?